I recently left my corporate job to start an audio software company and to become a software developer myself. It was a leap from one world to the other, from established science to emerging technologies. But now I'm realizing that this emerging technology is becoming my newly found path's greatest foe. Will all the time I put in to become a software developer in the end be wasted because AI can do it faster and better? So the question for us meatbags becomes, how do we differentiate? Maybe by translating and integrating our unique human experience alongside AI. And here in New York City, I'm talking to someone who embodies that like no other. My good friend Steve, with whom I'm here on a little vacation, and apart from just having a good time, I thought it would be a nice opportunity to talk about the topics that I've already brought up. How has software development changed in the last 10 years, like from when you started to now?
You know, in some ways it hasn't changed at all. Like, I almost don't even really care how good of a software developer you are, because I can teach you that, but I need you to know the tools when you come to work, because it's so annoying to talk to somebody who doesn't know how to use Git or whatever. Yeah. Those aspects have not changed at all. The other one is continuous deployment and integration testing, tooling. All that's very similar. Nothing's changed much in the 10 years. I mean, you might have different tools for doing it, but the core premise from what I've experienced hasn't changed much. But then of course now there's, AI. So we see a big change in the way that we can write software. It's a huge, profound change.
So is this change good or bad?
The sort of capacity of an individual developer now is insane. And I would say like right now is probably like the best time to go off and start that SaaS project that you wanted, build something and try to take your, small amounts of time and amplify it. Because that's what really, I think, my argument for what AI is that it is like a power suit for your mind. It allows you to multiply your effort tremendously. Yeah, I'd say that's the fundamental thing that's really that AI is allowing us as developers to do, is to personally do more with our time.
That's amazing. We can use AI to dramatically increase our productivity. So can I just vibe code away and let AI run its course? I mean, there's so many integrated tools now, Cursor, Lovable. They kind of give away this promise. What's Steve's take on this?
I might not write what's exactly happening for, within the functions that I'm using, but I do still need to know how I'm going to assemble it. And there's a danger with something like vibe coding where I don't anticipate that code written through vibes and AI is going to result in very maintainable software. I could be wrong. It could be that the tooling is such a point where you don't even need to keep track of what's being written. You just keep telling the AI to keep doing it more and more, and it keeps track of its own code base.
Artificial intelligence, just like the code it writes, is ultimately just a tool. Powerful? Immensely. Self-directed? Not really. Like any tool, from a hammer to a synthesizer, its usefulness lies not in its existence, but in the intention and skill of the user. Yes, AI is profoundly changing software development and creative workflows. But we, the users, still shape how that impact manifests. It's about directing the tool, not being replaced by it. Alright, software development is of course very technical. I'm not too surprised about AI's impact there. However, what about an area profoundly more human? What about art? Interestingly, Steve was truly an early adopter of deep learning in an artistic context.
I built an autoencoder deep learning network where we basically fed it all of Kathy's paintings. We fed it a bunch of really classical famous art, highest definition I could. And then also I built a bot that would scrape everything Kathy liked on Instagram to consider it like her influences. Because the idea was we're going to try to encode Kathy, the artist, into this AI. The actual sort of deliverable was a 3-screen display of 3 different videos of kind of Kathy's favorite pieces that were generated. But the way that this deep learning network worked was that effectively each of the images was encoded at an indice or in a vector space. And so all of these images were actually linked in a continuum. And so I wrote a simple animation software that would basically go from any, image 1 that she chose to image 2 and navigate through
this latent space.
Yeah,
kind of,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And so it resulted in just interesting morphing. Everything I've described is exactly what the critique of LLMs is now, is that they're trained on these massive data sets that were kind of stolen.
Yeah.
and that you can regenerate. You know, right now everyone's upset about the prompt to make an image look like Miyazaki, right? Because it's trained so well on all this work that it can perfectly recreate. There's a lot of complexity to that discussion, but I can say I was one of the first to be doing shitty things with stealing stuff off the internet.
Maybe you've also been the one that normalized it now, at least there's some kind normalized it now.
Yeah. Well, when an artist does it, it's okay, but like sampling hip hop.
So what's his general perspective on the influence of AI on the way that art is created? A simple prompt can at least create artsy looking pictures. Do we still need artists then?
Any technology that upsets the status quo, right? At one point, there was this fear that photography, when it was invented, was going to fully replace painting. Why do you need painting now that you can have a perfect recreation of reality? And then what happened was painting became this thing that was no longer about realism. It was about, it started becoming about painting itself. And so I think what we're gonna see is, one, we're gonna see some of the older technologies like painting and photography get a new opportunities, because now, maybe even photography itself no longer has to be about representing reality. And then I think it's also gonna free up artists themselves to have more capacity. Art is anything humans make that isn't necessary for survival, or even maybe a step above. And this is sort of what my master's thesis was on, the interaction of people with the thing. So the outcome, the painting, the picture, that's not the art, that's the artifact. That's the thing that we use as the talking point, the place where you and I sit down and start talking about this piece, or that's the referent by which I, in my own head, start thinking about deeper and deeper ideas. Because in the end, is it not all just about reaching out and saying, hey, I feel and I think and I have, I'm here, and having others feel that sympathy and that resonance to say, I also feel these things.
What's the bottom line here? Look at Steve. He started using code to make art, then found a passion for the code itself. Crucially, his ability to operate through different domains, music, art, tech, is what allowed him to apply the tool of software development effectively, creating things born from genuine need and experience. So the path forward seems to lie in this integration, learning with AI, leveraging its power, but always anchoring it to our human experience and goals. So did I waste my time learning to code when AI does it faster? Steve's perspective suggests no. Software development isn't just typing syntax. It's the entire arc from identifying a uniquely human problem to architecting its solution. Our job becomes less of pure coding, but more of problem finding, solution designing, and orchestrating AI to achieve those human-centered goals. And for that orchestration, understanding the fundamentals is more important than ever.
Learning software for me was a way of being able to make art. I think it's impossible to separate these concepts from me. Now that I have built out the skills in both domains, they just kind of flow back and forth, and there's sort of a synergy there.
Man, I wish that at one point I also gained this level of proficiency with software development skills. But I was also curious, what is it that really drives Steve? What is it that motivates him?
For me, I know the thing that works for me, I will work so hard if I care, if I think it's cool. It drives me. The moment something is boring or whatever, it's like work and it sucks,
Whatever you do, it's important that you really care about it. That's what drives Steve, that's what drives me, and hopefully also you. Huge thanks to Steve for letting me film him during our entire trip. You are a great friend, truly. And thanks to everyone who's still watching. I'm super curious for your take on the current paradigm shift and our role within it. Please drop it in the comments, and see you next time.